Yo, see guys, I'm Fire here back in another video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys another Madden 22 video. Today we're going to be going over a play in the gun bunch offset formation. That play is going to be Z spot and go in the middle there. I do not think I've made a separate video on this. If not, we're going to update it with some, or if I did, we're going to update it with some new setups that I like and show it against a couple of different coverages, just how I like to run the play, attack it. A lot of you guys probably don't use this play the most out of the bunch offset formation if you are running that, so we're going to kind of showcase how to take advantage of that. So again, Z spot and go, we're in the Cincinnati Bengals offensive playbook. It's going to be in a lot of playbooks. It's in regular gun bunch as well, so it's not limited to bunch offset necessarily, but it's going to be in Carolina and Rams and Cincinnati, pretty much every bunch offset, and then again, it's also in a lot of bunches. So, yeah, we're not going to be running it with too many abilities, so we're going to keep it pretty traditional and just show how to attack it. Now, the first way I like to run this play is pretty simple, and you're actually going to kind of run this play stock. Just one thing I'd like to do is motion out B. It just allows him to get in the gap a little bit better. Kind of what you want to have to happen if you're trying to throw it to Odell Beckham Jr. in this case is you want the zones to develop. How do they develop? You need them to get back and start defending things, which they do in a very good way. This linebacker in particular in the hook curl zone as well as the curl flat. If we were to run the play stock, then it's a little bit difficult to throw. You see interceptions. But we want him more towards that right hash mark, and the way to do that is simply through a little bit of motion, which we showcase here. You have enough space to really throw it. If you throw it early enough, catch it, and make some moves. You see we're utilizing the low ball, but if you want, you can actually just kind of run it like this and throw it like right here, and it almost creates a delayed slant look. Very cool route, very underrated, and this is a super easy way to attack some of the zones. Again, where's the user going to be? He's going to be in a couple of different places. One could be a quick running back route, so the way I like to use the running back in this play is utilizing things like wheel routes, things like little out routes. And if you wanted to, again, you can go with a quick low ball possession catch to be safe, or you can kind of motion out, go with that rat catch or whatever. But overall, I do recommend, if you're keeping this Z spot and go route, then I would kind of recommend motioning him out. Only usually a step or two, because otherwise it takes a lot longer to develop. We still do want it relatively quickly as far as our timing goes for the play. This is what it looks like if you wait a long time, like motion them all the way out here. You see it's just not going to be the best spacing. You could have, of course, lowballed that, but you can't really throw it quick as much. And if you wait, the zone is so far back that it actually is in position to react now. So the timing is important if you're running it like that. So that's kind of your first way to run it. Also, this route is very good against man coverage. Not so much like this, because if you run it standardly, it can get pressed. But if you're facing press man-to-man coverage, you motion them out, it's not going to get pressed, and then you can kind of get them burnt right there. I might show it against man coverage just so you can see the route, but trust me, it does beat man coverage. It's one of my go-tos, and all you would have to do is really combine it with something like an out route. You have two routes that beat man coverage. Your corner out, of course, can get above the coverage as well. But let's go into some other things with it. Now, again, I mentioned that I like this wheel route over on this left side, and I love the wheel route combined with that out route. It just allows you to kind of go with a quick throw. And we don't actually have an out route on that left side. We have a C route, so it is slightly different, but the timing is going to be kind of similar as if you were running a play like verticals. Now, as far as throwing the C route, it is a little bit challenging to kind of throw it, but you actually can kind of fit it in potentially, and it depends on zone drops. These are, again, the stock curl flats. If their zone drops are short, of course, you can throw it over the top. And if they are long, you can throw that wheel route almost quicker. So that's kind of one way to do it. Again, the wheel routes you can also throw against man coverage. Timing kind of right about there. But you see we throw it 10 yards easily against standard zone coverage. Now, as far as your other side of the field goes, we're going to be changing up those routes as well. Generally, I'll keep these two routes the same, except for on one of the setups where we use some motion to the left. But you'll see that later. As far as this right side, you can do a couple of different things. If we wanted to run it kind of standard, the most standard way to do it is just to streak B, leave your flat, and leave your corner out. This kind of allows you to create a rollout scheme over here. You have a couple of reads. Generally, your reads are going to be either flat or corner out, a pretty simple high-low concept. And you're just reading the defense. A lot of times people don't use double Mabel, so it's going to be a simple read. of who's open. In this case, against like these stock coverages, you can actually throw both usually. Here you see the corner out's open, but the flat's also open as well. So this is where zone drop comes into key. A lot of times with people try to put these curl flats from this position at like 30 yards, they actually don't get out there fast enough. So you should still honestly be able to throw this. Now, the clear out doesn't do the best job because it is from the slot. If you wanted the clear out to do a 100% better job and you wanted the corner out to make sure that it's open, what you could really do is motion over Odell Beckham Jr. over here, and this would be the best way to open up your corner out. You just see you have a lot more space over here. So similar, and it should still work from the slot. And again, it is a tell when you motion him over because you don't want to motion snap him. You do want him to get set. If you motion snap him, it takes him a lot longer to get through, and then both routes are running right into each other, which we don't want happening. As far as the other way you can do this with the streak is to actually put Higbee on a little out route. This is going to give him a little bit more depth, and you can still kind of throw it the same way. I know some people that like the flat better. The out route's going to be a lot better against man coverage if you are facing man once again. This is where the out route's going to, of course, play kind of a big role. And again, the out route, and you can run the out route with the Z spot and go. So Odell could still be on his other route, but again, it also seems to do a little bit of a better job of pulling down that curl flat. You notice that we have a little bit more space. The curl flat seems to be a little bit deeper when we do not leave the out route and we just keep it on the flat. So something to remember. Again, if you're facing man, this would be a good setup. You can actually leave the route. You still have another guy over here, and the spacing, of course, kind of looks the same. No gunslinger, otherwise that's a dot. And that was bad timing, of course, as well. But that's going to do it for that kind of setup, and we're going to go into a different kind of concept over here before switching coverages a little bit later. And we're going to go with the streak with Tyler Higbee. Now, why would you go with the streak? This is just to give you a little bit more options. And again, believe it or not, something like this could be all the difference in the world in opening up certain routes. The way that coverages in this game is kind of unpredictable, the way that zone drops play and certain coverages in general. So honestly, if you're struggling, one route like this can actually be the entire difference in a play, believe it or not. And you saw it right there. Now you can run this play stock with no motion with the streak, and again, of course, the out route, or you can actually motion over Odell Beckham Jr. This is going to kind of guarantee you pull him down. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of no motion on this particular play, but if you are facing pressed man-to-man coverage and you do not want Odell Beckham Jr. to be pressed, this is a good way to avoid that. Some other things you can do, go with the zig route. You can go with the traditional flat as well. I do like the flat with the motion to where you can just kind of throw this and you have an opportunity to catch it upfield a little bit cleaner. That would be an option. If you're using the zig route, personally, I don't usually like to motion that, but you could, of course, do that. Here's the zig stock. Just going to sit there, and again, you see it pulls him down. If you want the best option to throw to Odell, just go with the standard flat route or the out route. I'm going to say that. So that was the regular zig route. Let's show the motion zig. I think that's what we did. So here's the motion zig, motion amount of step. And you see very delayed to where you can't really throw the zig route. So it doesn't really seem too open on either one. And I would just personally prefer to run it like this, because you take a look at when you run it like this, and you can, of course, easily throw this out route. You don't have too much space to catch it and go up the field, but you can still throw it, which is nice. So we got one more setup, and then we'll switch coverages. When I do switch coverages, I'll only show each setup once or twice because we are kind of explaining the bulk of it right about now, so as that would make sense. This one's going to be a kind of a max protect-esque setup. I'll show a way that you don't need to run max protect, but what you're going to do is streak Odell, motion over Cup, and then I like Woods on an in route. You are going to go with motion snap on this setup, but that is something that I would advise to do. You don't have to, but again, when you're motioning over to the left, you don't want the defense to have time to adjust. So generally, it's just going to be a better idea to motion snap. When you do let him get set, that's adding an extra 3-4 seconds for him to cross man a linebacker on him or a safety on him, and then your play is done. So that's your reasoning behind that. If you want to, of course, you are more than welcome to maybe put Akers on a wheel route. You could, and I'll show this next play, max protect your tight end and the other guys, but again, it's just some extra options. So especially if you're facing someone rushing 3, is there really a reason to max protect? No. So this could be a good option for that, but simple high-low read, you can throw the in route, you can throw the deeper post route, and Cooper Kupp kind of acts as a crosser in this, which is definitely nice. If you were to max protect, again, I'm going to keep it simple like this. Especially if you're facing someone blitzing, this is a good setup to go to, and you can just kind of throw this to Woods underneath, and you see we have a ton of room to catch it and go up the field. So let's quickly change to man coverage just for that first setup, and then we'll go into cover 2. We already are at the 10-minute mark, which I did not intend to be at. I guess I did probably over-explain slightly, but we're just going to show this against man real quick, and our setup's going to be like this. Show Odell Beckham Jr. against man. He's going to go over, boop, and he did get bumped here. Now, it'll change animation to animation. Sometimes you'll see a complete burn. Sometimes you will see a situation where he doesn't get as much separation kind of right there. And Odell is not necessarily super highly rated, and I think Higbee's bumping him, so we're just going to block Higbee just so he's out of the way. But the better wide receivers definitely get separation. Route technician will, of course, help on this as well. But let's just get this guy out of the way. And for whatever reason, he's getting burnt, or he's not working. Trust me, it works in game. I've literally ran it in gameplays before. I don't know why it's not working now, but clearly it's not going to. I don't know who that corner is over there. Kendall Fuller, I guess. You would think Odell would be able to win at least one of those matchups. But let's quickly go to cover 2. Go with this first setup against cover 2. And here on this left side, you see that you're going to have to throw the wheel route. We'll get the corner out against cover 2, though. There's just so much space for Cooper Kupp running it standardly. The cloud flat's always going to go down on the out route or flat route or whatever you have, and it's just going to be wide open. On the left side, Robert Woods isn't going to be open at all, so you're looking at Cam Akers on a quick pass. Again, if you want to, you can go standard out route as well. I didn't show that much, but that is an option on every play. But next setup is going to be something like this. If you're running it like this, you can throw Odell quickly, or again, same thing with Cooper. Throw him deep over the top, and there's just so much space for that. So again, if you want to throw the flats, throw it quickly. Otherwise, you're looking at corner routes. Last setup we're going to show is going to be the max protect setup. Of course, it doesn't need to be max protected, so we don't necessarily need to show it. But again, Higbee's wide open right there. If you wait a little bit, he can get open. And again, most people aren't running a stock cover 2 where there's 2 vert hooks and a mid read. So he's probably going to be a little bit more open than that. If not, check it underneath to your wheel route or in route or flat route. And again, if you had enough time, you could wait. Having a mobile quarterback definitely helps to roll out to the right and throw that deep post over the top. But that's going to do the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out of here.